Hello, I'm Dan Whelan, Senior Reporter at Place Northwest. Today I'm in Ellesmere Port, looking round Northstone's Glisk development. It comprises 218 homes built with flexibility and sustainability in mind, designed for the changing needs of the modern resident. Let's go and take a look around. Phil, we're here at Glisk today in Ellesmere Port. I want you to tell us a little bit about the journey that we've taken to get here. So tell us about the origins of Northstone and why it was formed originally.
In terms of Northstone and the sort of ideas behind it, there were a number of reasons really why we decided to form a house builder. Part of it was about opportunity within a sector that we could see that was had a continuing demand. There's a lack of new homes being built across the UK. You can see that in terms of a lot of the press that is reported on in relation to it. And I think the other reason that we looked at it is in terms of Peel itself, and the company is involved in a wide range of sectors, but one of the things that we also have is quite a substantial land bank. And throughout over a number of years, we've been promoting sites for development for residential purposes. We've in the past sold on to other house builders, and at times, in terms of discussions with local authorities, have probably been seen as just someone who obtains a consent and then sells on rather than delivers, but has talked about what the delivery should look like. And I suppose it's trying to answer that question that gets asked of us in terms of, well, why won't you do it yourself?
What's the medium to long-term aspiration for Northstone? Obviously to keep delivering houses, but how far does that go?
I'd like to try and build Northstone up, say in the northwest, to be delivering 500 new homes for sale per annum. But I think we're already looking at other ideas that could go beyond that, and then we also have interests in other parts of the country through the group. So we've already started to look into Yorkshire, where we've got a site within the group that has a planning consent for 3,000 houses, where we're saying actually that could be a good stepping stone and starting point for another region. I think going beyond there is entirely possible, but you're talking about a sort of more than 5 years ahead. I'd love to do it, and I'd love to see Northstone become a national house builder over time, but it's a case of making sure that we can crawl, walk and then run.
So these houses, Richard, on the sign on the way in,
yes,
it says they're new build.
Yeah.
What does that actually mean?
Okay, so what we've tried saying to people is that you can go and buy a new built house, but in actual fact there are things that we're doing here that push technology a little bit further, that push the idea of sustainability a little bit further, that help people with the way that we've constructed the house, help them with their energy bills, so we're making the homes far more energy efficient. So it's just a new idea about what a new build can be, and telling people that not every new build is the same, and that what they really need to do is come and have a look at some of the things that we can explain to them about how we can make the home work far more efficiently for them, and it gives them an opportunity to understand what a new build could be.
Tell us a little bit about how these houses are designed in order to make them suitable for the modern resident and for future residents as well.
So lots of things that we've incorporated, that people asked for are things like taller ceilings. They asked for the idea of having a house that they could adapt to the way that they wanted to live in it, which meant that the house had to be flexible. And when you start thinking about that, well, if you put walls around rooms, you've lost that flexibility. So it drives you down an open plan solution. And so what we developed was a system within the house in terms of its design and the way that it's constructed that would allow the purchaser to choose the location of the kitchen to suit their need, which I think it's pretty unique. You know, it's one of the things that certainly sets Northstone apart.
Tell me a little bit more about the sustainability credentials of these houses, especially within the context of, you know, the cost of living crisis that we're currently finding ourselves in.
We incorporated things, a renewable technology that a lot of people, unless you pointed to it because it's hidden and told them what it does, they wouldn't even know it's in the house. And it's called wastewater heat recovery. And what it does do, it's a very clever little system that extracts the heat out of water that comes from your shower waste that would just simply go into the drain. It takes the heat out of that and preheats the cold water going to the boiler. And therefore it makes the boiler work far more efficiently. Even simple things like making the house exactly to a brick dimension. If you don't make houses to brick dimensions, you'll see that bricklayers are cutting bricks and throwing the brick in a skip. Well, the clay that makes the brick is a natural resource. You have to fire it in a gas kiln, which, you know, isn't sustainable in its own right. You have to transport the bricks here. So if you can cut down the quantity that you're using, cut down the quantity that are being manufactured, all of those little components, all of those little things add to the bigger picture of sustainability.
Yeah, and speaking of technology, you mentioned the wastewater heat system. Tell us about the little magic light switch, as I like to call it.
What we did with the one switch is enable people to see that with that technology, if they wanted to take it further, they could automate their house. It can then coordinate the lights with your activities, not just in the house, but out of the house. So if you know you're going to be late home, you can let the house know and it'll turn the lights on so it looks like you're at home. It can learn the way that you use your house, so it can adapt the heating. As you use different spaces, it can make the heating go up and down, which is actually quite clever in terms of controlling energy costs, because you've got the heating on upstairs and you're not up there. Well, why do that? If the system is sophisticated enough to allow it to adapt it, then all you're doing is saving energy and therefore reducing your running costs, which is absolutely ideal.